last session, I given you a simple overview of how we can set up the environment for building an web application. So we learned about how we can build a web application. So means just the basic environment, how do we set up? So to start building web application, so we have to install Node.js, and install Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is the editor, and we have to create a new project, and we need to run the command npm init. So yesterday I showed you here. So we created a project in Visual Studio Code, some front-end web application. So this is the front-end web application, and in this we generated a file called package.json. So to generate this file, we executed the command npm init. Now tell me, what is the purpose of this package.json? So what is the purpose of package.json? What do you say? Good. Package.json contains metadata. Metadata means it contains information about your application. So what that information contains? That information contains like version, like name, keywords. It contains dependencies. What are the dependencies required? So test commands. So startup documents, all such information is present. So we need to use this project at any another location, then the information about the project is gathered by using this package.json file. So package.json contains information about your application. You can manually change this package.json. You can manually change the package.json file, or technically this package.json will automatically update whenever you are adding any packages into this. That means whenever you are installing new libraries, making changes into this will automatically update. You can manually change this also. That we are going to see later. One more point, sometimes when you are working with this terminal, so sometimes people come with a complaint like, in my terminal, so I am having a PowerShell. You see, right side corner here. So here we have the options, like you can have the options like the show tabs. You can select show tabs, and in the show tabs you can choose which terminal you want. That means is a command terminal. So you can use the command terminals. So we can use different types of terminals, right? Yeah, JSON is JavaScript object notation. Now you can lower your hand, okay? Yeah. So I hope, Trupti, this is your not first class. Every day after the class, whatever your doubts are there, we are talking manually, and we are talking on mic, and we are discussing all the doubts and resolving the doubts. I hope you are there in previous sessions. If not there, so turning on the mic, disturbing the session in between, it will be very awkward and it will not happen here, okay? If you have any doubt, just raise your hand, and if I will get back to you at the end of the session, you can ask whatever doubt you have, how much time you have, everything, no problem, okay? In between the sessions, allowing the people to talk on mic, disturbing the sessions, that will be very time wasting process. Okay, right. So we will address all your doubts at the end of the session once the topic is finished. Okay. Yeah, I hope you know this, right? So, and every day we are doing that regularly. Yeah. Right. So up to this part, working with the application environment, here we configured and everything. Now your project is ready. Your project is ready. So yesterday I showed you how we can create this project. Generally in the project, so after doing this, what you have to do is, now one more work you have to do is, so download, so we have to download, remember, download and install following plugins in your Visual Studio Code. You have to download and install some plugins. So plugins in your Visual Studio Code. Actually, plugins are nothing but generally plugins are additional software tools. So which are used by developers, which are required for developers to make the development process in a more convenient way. So after downloading and installing Visual Studio Code, you will get only few options from Visual Studio Code. You will get only few options in Visual Studio Code, which are not enough for development process. You need to add the plugins. What plugins you have to add and how to add, I will show you. After you downloaded the Visual Studio Code and you started working with your projects, what you do is, in the Visual Studio Code, you can see in the left panel, you can observe that here we have a panel in the Visual Studio Code panel. Yeah. So in this panel, you can observe here. Right. So you see here, there is an extensions. This is a button. So that is actually extensions button. In the left panel, you will see there is an extensions button. That is extensions button. So what you have to do is, so you have to go to that extensions button. When you click on the extensions button, it will open the extensions tab. In the extensions tab, you have to search for an extension called live server. And this live server, you select that live server. You see there is a live server. So select that live server and install that live server. So you need to install this live server. You need to install this live server in your Visual Studio Code. So this live server is required to host our applications and run the applications. I will show you another process also, how we can manage that. So what is hosting, what is deploying, how to run, all this we will see. So live server is a tool which is required to start the project, to run the project, and to see the output of the project. That means it is responsible for launching your application on server, and from there we can access our application and use the application. So web applications need to start working from the server. So you need a live server. What is server and all, I will explain now. Today we will discuss those terms. So you need to download and install this server. So after downloading and installing Visual Studio Code, after you create the project, now add this live server also, which is very much required. After adding the live server, one more plugin, what you have to do is, you have live server, that is one plugin, live server plugin. One more is, for your convenience, you can download another plugin called VS Code icons. You can search for another VS Code icons. This is Visual Studio Code icons, VS Code icons. So the advantage of this VS Code icons is nothing but This also you can install. What is the advantage of this VS Code icon is whenever we are creating projects, so whenever we are adding files, for every file according to its extension, according to its type, it will give a proper icon. For HTML icons, CSS icons, so that it is easy for a developer to identify the files by watching the icons itself, they can tell. So it will be very convenient for you when you are developing in a large scale application. A lot of files are present. It will be very easy to identify the files by the icons itself. So better download this one also, VS Code icons. So these two plugins are initially enough. You have to get that from the extensions location. From extensions, you can search for these two icons, VS Code icons. You can search for these two live server VS Code icons and you can download and install. Why we need them, how we need them, that we are going to discuss detailedly. Some more points we are going to learn now. So now it is ready to start working, start building your applications. So you have to do this. So you need to download and all these options, right? Any theme you can select. Themes you can select any theme, any color theme you want, you can choose for that. Okay. Now once you have installed these plugins also, now before starting the project, before working with the project, so we have to, before starting and working with the project, so we have to know some more technical terms. We need to understand some more technical terms. In the project, actually, when we create project, the project comprises of some folders. So that means you see here, in this project, we need to keep all our files. And all the files in the project, are organized in separate folders. So generally, basic folders in a project architecture, I will show you. So that means we are manually configuring and creating them. So what you need to do here is, after creating this package JSON, and after installing the plugins, you see there is a button, a new folder button is there at the top. You have new folder button and new file button will be there. So you can see there is a new folder button here. So there is a new folder button, a new folder and new file button will be there at the top. So those buttons you have to click. So you have to select those buttons, the new folder, new file, for adding folders and files. I will click on this new folder button and it will ask the folder name. And I will give the folder name as public. That is the folder name. Generally, public is the folder where we keep all our resources, static resources. I will tell you what are static, what are non-static. Today we are going to discuss. This is one folder. Now click outside. That means outside, and you can create another folder. So that is SRC. So source. Generally, public contains all static files. SRC contains all dynamic files. This is a tradition for project. What are static files? What are dynamic files? I am going to explain now. We are going to detailedly discuss about that. So you will see that regularly web projects comprises of a folder called public and SRC. Public comprises of all the static files and SRC comprises of all the dynamic files. What are static files? So what are dynamic files? We are going to discuss now. We will see that. This is basic structure. Later, several more folders are required, several more options are required. But the initial stages, this is how your web application looks professionally. So 3 important components are present in your project. A public folder to keep all the static files, a SRC folder to keep all the dynamic files, and a package JSON to define the metadata of your application. These folders we are creating manual, configuring manual. Now, before starting with working with the project, we need to know some important terms. We need to know some important terms. What are those terms? So already we discussed it. So what is a web? What is web? So last session we discussed what is web and what are the options about web. Now, some important terms that you need to be familiar before starting developing the applications. One, you have to know about a web server. We have to know about a web server. So what is a web server? What is a website? So what is a web application? Web application. What is SPA? Single page application. What is PWA? Progressive web application. So because web development involves all this, we need to know what is a blog. So what is a wiki? So what is a podcasting? And we need to understand, so what are, so widgets. And we need to know, so what is URL, what is URI, so what is protocols, right? We need to understand what is a protocol. All these terms, so browser, so developer tools, these are all the terms you need to know. So we have to understand all this. We need to understand all this. So, and we need to know what is a web page. So in the web pages, what are static pages? So what are dynamic pages? These are all theoretically you need to understand. Without knowing all this, you cannot call yourself as a web developer, because in web development, not just building application, you need to know what we are building, what is the difference between them, what are the roles and responsibilities. Let's see one simple practical concept here. So our project is ready. We will come back to this project and we will start building this. But before doing that, we need to understand all these terms. So what are those terms? Let's see. First, we need to understand what is a web server. What is a web server? Actually, technically, web server, it resembles so hardware and software. It resembles hardware and software. It satisfies the client request by sending and receiving data. Receiving data by sending and receiving the data. So web server resembles both hardware and software. It satisfies the client request by sending and receiving the data. For example, you see here just a basic example. So suppose I just given here a point here. This is web. This is the web. Now in the web, so we need to access the web and we need to use the web. We need to access and use the web. That means we have client. We are the clients. So clients. Now how clients will access? Client is nothing but the user. So client is nothing but the user. So when user makes a request, so how the request will be processed? Who will process that request? Actually, so the request will be processed. The request will be processed by a web server. It is processed by a web server. Web server is also called as, HTTP server. What is HTTP? I will tell you. We will discuss that. So web server is also called as a HTTP server. So web server resembles both hardware and software, because actually server means it's a computer. And in this computer, So generally we use a software. In that computer, we use a software. This software is also called as web server. That means the computer, so that is having that software is called web server. The software itself is called web server. So that means web server resembles both hardware and software. So it is computer and the software used in that computer. What is the role of this web server? The role of web server is very simple. When clients makes a request, that means when client makes a request, generally client will make a request. So client will make a request, and what web server will do is, so it will accept the request from the client. It is accepting the request from the client, and it will send this request to the web server. Web server is going to handle the request. It is going to handle the request. So that means handling the request, it is going to process that request, and it is going to fetch the information from the web, and it gets the information from the web and sends a response back to the client. So the response back to the client. So response back to the client. Response back to the client. That means the basic role of server to handle the request and response, to handle the communication, so between the client and the web. So that means whenever the client makes a request, so the client request will come to the web server process that request and communicates and interacts and gets the data and sends a response back to them. Generally, as a developer, why we need this web server now? Why we need the web server? Generally, what we will do is, actually the web servers are classified into two types. Web servers are classified into two types. And what are the two types web servers? The servers are categorized into two. What are the two types of servers? So what is the role? What is the responsibility here? So the two types of servers are nothing but generally, we have local servers. So we have local server, and we have cloud servers. You have a local server and a cloud server. So local and cloud servers. Generally, local servers, cloud servers, what are the responsibility of local and cloud servers? The responsibility of local server and cloud servers. Local servers, that means in the local server, what you can do is you can create and host your application. And you can test your application. So you can test your application on your PC itself, and you can check whether it is working fine or not. So after everything is working fine, then we publish onto the cloud servers. Cloud servers will make your application live, so you can run the application, you can start the application, and so that anyone can access and use your application also. So technically, so we have the cloud servers, and we have local servers. I will show you both of them, how to handle the cloud servers, how to handle the local servers. We will discuss both of them. That means generally, when you are dealing and working with servers, you need to understand both techniques. So we are going to learn both of them. I will show you how we can make our application live also. But first we need to understand how to use the local servers. How do we work with the local servers and deal with the local servers? Generally, when you are dealing with web applications, server is the location where we host our applications. Server is the location where we host our application. So we are going to host the application on server. And from there, we are going to access the application and we are going to use the application. And so many local servers are present. and so many types of cloud servers also present. We can use any of them. Generally, what are the cloud servers and what are the local servers? How we can deal with the cloud and local servers? We will see them. The local servers, we have so many local servers. Like in your computer, you can install these local servers and use them. One is like Tomcat, Apache Tomcat. So that is a local server. You have like Microsoft IIS, Internet Information Services, or you also use the servers like XAMPP server, WAMP servers. So many types of local servers are present. So different technology people can use different types of local servers. That local server actually we have installed in this location. Means in our Visual Studio Code we added a live server. That live server is nothing but that is the local server. The live server is the local server. So that is actually the local server. Technically, that is the local server. So now very important here is, so in the local server, actually, we have to host our application. That I will show you, step-by-step process I will show you. There are so many other local servers also, like XAMPP. So a server like WAMP, and they are server like MAP. All these are local servers only. You have to download and install and use them. I will show you one server. We have cloud servers. Cloud servers like we have Firebase. We have cloud server like Azure. You have cloud servers like AWS. You have cloud server like Now. So we have like, so Netify. So you have the cloud servers like GitHub pages also we can use. And we have like NPM. NPM is also there. So these are all cloud servers, right? Yeah, so many are there. You don't need to worry about them, right? So I just given few of them. So technically, when you are working with web application development, you need a server. So cloud servers, so we will discuss in the later stage how to deploy on the cloud servers. Initially, we will see on the local servers. And if you are already using Windows as operating system, in Windows operating system, already you have a server called IIS, Internet Information Services Manager. So this is a local server which is available with Windows. If you have Windows, by default, you have it. So you don't need to download or install any additional server. If you already have Windows operating system, by default, it comes with a web server called IIS. So how to check your computer is having that web server or not? How to add web server, I will show you. If you belong to any other operating system like Mac or Linux or any other operating system, don't worry. So this environment is enough. You can run on any machine. It can be Mac or anywhere it will work. I told you live server, it will run on any location. But if you are using Windows operating system, by default, you have a web server. You can try that. Observe carefully here. So how to look for this web server, how to use the web server, I will show you. So let's open the Windows control panel. Go to Windows control panel. This is Windows control panel. In the Windows control panel, you will find administrative tools. Generally, control panel sometimes will be category wise, like this it is arranged. Or you can, to make it simple, you can just go here and view by, select as icons. It is simply expanding every branch and showing you. When you switch by large icons, you can go to administrative tools. In administrative tools, you can observe there is IIS, Internet Information Services Manager. You will find this IIS in your computer. So have you checked in your PC? Do you have all of you? So in the control panel, administrative tools, do you have this IIS, Internet Information Services? People who are currently doing it from the laptop, have you checked that? Yeah, you are okay. You are having it. Yes. Yes. Okay. If you are not having it, then what to do? So let's see. That means if you don't have this IIS, because sometimes what happens is if we don't have, because it is a Windows tool, sometimes it may be switched off. So in order to switch on, what you have to do is you go to the control panel. In the control panel, you will find programs and features. You will find programs and features. This is programs and features. In programs and features, generally from here, you can add and remove programs. In these programs and features, left side, you will see there is a link, turn Windows features on or off. So in control panel, programs and features, you need to click on turn Windows features on or off. You can see it will show the list of some features available. Now in these Windows features, you have to select Internet Information Services. In your computers, it may be unchecked. You have to check that. You have to select that Internet Information Services. You have to select that information services and click OK. This will add the web server to your computer. This will add the web server to your computer. You have to select that checkbox and make sure that in that checkbox, these options are selected. FTP, web management, World Wide Web services, these three are selected. Make sure that these three options are selected in that category. And you click on OK. You click on OK. That means this is added to your computer. So once this is added to your computer, you can find it in control panel, administrative tools. In control panel, administrative tools, you will find Internet Information Services. So if it is not available, you have to add manually. So from programs and features, go to programs and features and click the option turn Windows features on or off. And in that, you have to select Internet Information Services. And you click OK, that is added. Once it is added successfully, you can find it in your administrative tools now. Administrative tools. That is the process of adding. If it is still not available, don't worry. If it is still not available, I showed you alternative technique here. We installed a live server. That is enough. We can start working with our project. So no need to worry about that. So even if it is not working, no need to worry. So because already I showed you another technique. So that is directly installing a live server. So on your project so that you can start using that live server. But if you have this IIS on your computer, you can test it. You can test it. Observe carefully. Open this. You can see. So this is the server. So this is the location from where we manage our projects locally. Remember, this is a local server. So generally, what we do actual development process is, so first what we do is, we will have a local server. We will have a local server. In this local server, we build the application. We build the application. We will test the application. And if the application is completely perfect, so it is not having any issues, then finally we push this application to live. That means we go live. Go live means for that what we have to do is you have to purchase domain. You have to purchase a domain. Domain means, so website name, right? What name you want for your website, you have to purchase a domain. Those things I will tell you. You have to purchase space. You have to purchase domain, you have to purchase space. Then deploy your application, deploy application. So that means whatever the local application you have built, you deploy that application onto that location. Now it is live. That means now anybody can access your website and use it. That means any user can access, So that means any user on internet can access your application and use it. That means generally we don't build the application. Directly live. What we do is we build the application. So we test the application. If everything is fine, then we will finally push this application to live. Directly we will not build live. In real world projects also, at high level, generally what happens is, I will show you a point. At high level, at very high level, at MNCs, so large scale projects, generally everything will not happen at one place. Usually we will have 4 servers. Like we have a sandbox server. Or we call golden server. We will have a development server. We will have a quality server. And we will have a production server. So now what happens is, repository, this golden server is the repository server. Repository is nothing but all the library that is required for building application, library, and you can say resources, all are present in this sandbox server. As a developer, we are given access to development server. Actually, what we do is we build application in the development server. After building the application in development server, what we do is we move this application to the quality server. In the quality server, our testing people will test the application. They will check whether everything is working fine. Are there any issues in the application? After testing successfully, this is sent to the production. It is moved to production server. Now our clients will be using this application from the production server. That means they will be using our application from the production server. And later, suppose if they want any change in this application, then we will not directly do that on the production. If they want any changes in the application, then again we do that in the development. After that, we move to quality. After that, we send to production. That is why we need such a kind of environment. That means we will not build everything at one location. So we build, we test, we deploy, and finally it is ready to use. So technically, this kind of environment we have to follow. And that's what I am going to show you in our sessions. We are going to first learn how to build a complete end-to-end application on local server. After that, we will learn how to make it live so that anybody can access and anybody can use it. That means we will deploy that application and make it live by using free cloud accounts. So free cloud accounts will be there. By using those free cloud accounts, we can deploy and make it live also. I will show you the process, how it can be done. For that, what we have to do. But first, we are going to learn how to build application on local server. And we have one local server, that is IS. How to test this local server is working or not? What you have to do is, you have to open your browser, and you have to just request this. Observe carefully. Open the browser. And here you need to request, in the URL, you have to request http://localhost. That is our server virtual path. What is a virtual path? You are going to learn now. So this is the server address. That means I showed you we have a local server. You see, this is the local server, Internet Information Services. Left side, you see, this is the PC name. Some PC name is there. This is the server name. But when I move the mouse onto it, you can see that. When I move the mouse onto it, you can see this is the virtual name. That is the server name. Server name. So that is http://localhost. That is the server name. That is the server name. You can access that server so in two ways. Generally, local servers are accessible by using the default local server http://localhost, or you can use its IP address http:// IP address will be like this 127.0.0.1. This is the standard IP address. You can try this on your machines. First, remember, to do this, you must have a server. If you already have IIS on your computer installed, you can test this. See what will happen now. I will run here, localhost. It will show the server home page. You can see this is the server home page. This is the server home page. And you can try IP address also. That is http://127.0.0.1. So and hit enter. You can see that when I hit enter, this is the server. So you can observe in Visual Studio Code, we created a project. When we created a project on Visual Studio Code and we installed a live server also here. When you installed a live server here and we created a project here, generally here also, we can add files, we can run this project and we can handle it. That I will show you how we can handle that, how we can work with that. So how to access the server from here. So how we can access the project from here, we will see. For that, we need some pages, we need some details. Actually, this is package JSON. So we can start, we can work, we can run with this, but I will tell you how to start with the project because still we don't have any environment. We don't have any pages here. Okay. So what you have to do is, so you can check whether there is IIS on your PC and you have to, so just run this and you have to define this. That means http:// and localhost, and hit enter, it will get that. So let's see one more time how this is handled. So what you have to do, first open your control panel. In the control panel, go to administrative tools. In administrative tools, check if there is IIS on your machine or not. If it is not there, IIS, Internet Information Services Manager. If it is not there, you can go to control panel, programs and features. In programs and features, turn Windows features on off. Left side, you will see that option, turn Windows features on off. In that, you have to select Internet Information Services, IIS. Select the checkbox Internet Information Services and click OK. That means now it is ready. It is ready. So now once the web server is ready, you can test that web server. So how we can test that web server? So you have to open your browser and you have to request this URL, http://localhost, and it should get this page. Or you can use the IP address. So http://127.0.0.1, and it will get this address. This is so the basic how we can configure the server. Once the server is ready, now we need to create applications, websites and blogs and everything we need to handle and build that application here. So have you tested this? People who have IIS, have you checked this? Is it working for you? This URL is working in the browser, http localhost. Good. Right. Good. So yes. So that means you have a local server running on your machine. Yes. Good. So that means you have a local server working on your machine and you are so ready to start building the applications. So you understood the technical point. So what is the role of a local server and a cloud server? Local server initially helps you to build your application and keep your application ready, test your application, check everything is fine. Then after that, you can deploy this onto the cloud servers. Cloud servers later, we will see that. So initially a server is ready. Initially a server is working. If this is not working, you go to Visual Studio Code and create that project and install the live server. How to use it, I will show you. That is enough. Okay. So sometimes people say that I belong to Mac, I belong to Linux, what I should do. So you just do this. So create a Visual Studio project and that live. Technically, for a general person, when you ask what is a website, he will immediately give you an answer. Website is a collection of web pages like that. But that's not technically correct point. Actually, what is a website and what is a web application, what is a blog, how they are different? Technically, website, it is a virtual directory. That point also. That means we will see that point also. That means remember, so website is not just collection of pages. Website is a virtual directory on web server that provides access to resources. That provides access to resources, allows the user to interact with the resources. It is called technically as a virtual directory. I will show you a simple point here. So open your IIS. So in the administrative tools, we open this IIS. When we open this IIS, you can see left side. This is the server name. And expand that server name. Click on that. You will see there is a sites folder. Expand that sites folder. You will find there is a default website. In the default website, we have some websites. In the default website, we have some websites. Some names are there. Some website names are there. Some names. So you may have empty because these are all our own created. This is default website. So generally, so you expand the local computer, in that you have sites. In the sites, you have a default website. So technically, what is a website? Why it is called as a website? See, actually the meaning web, that means it is on web server. So site means location on web server. In a computer, location is nothing but it will be some drive and directory. So usually in a computer, location means a drive and directory. That means it will be some path, some drive name, some directory name. So technically, website is a location in the web server. So it is a directory, virtual directory. You can see here, I am creating a website locally. How to create a website? Go to this default website, right click on default website. You will find an option, add virtual directory. You can select add virtual directory. So creating website is nothing but adding a virtual directory. So website is a virtual directory. You have to select add virtual directory. What is an application? Others we will see. Add a virtual directory. That means you are adding a virtual directory. And here you can see that when you say add virtual directory, it is asking what should be the website name. Here we can give any name for the website. So front end, suppose I am giving. So it is asking for alias. Alias is nothing but it is asking website name. What name you want to give for the website? I will give any name which is not already taken. So you see here, already some websites are there in my computer. So we need to give a name which is not already taken there. So suppose I will right click here. So I will right click here. and add a new virtual directory. It is asking website name. Suppose I will give as shopping. So just give a name, simple name, right? Shopping. Don't use any spaces and all. Just use a simple name, shopping. Okay. Now your website will be like this. That means it will be now http://localhost. In that we have shopping. Now actually this is a virtual directory. Virtual directory means in physical reality, does it exist? In physical reality, does it exist? What do you say? It is a virtual. Virtual means in physical reality, it doesn't exist. Am I right? Yeah. So in physical reality, it doesn't exist. It's just a virtual directory. It is just a virtual directory. In physical reality, it doesn't exist. Then where to keep the resources for this website? Website will have some resources like images, pages, so many resources, documents will be there. So how we can do that? That means you can see that we can maintain resources for this website. So every website requires a virtual path. This is actually virtual path. And there will be a physical path also. It is asking physical path. Physical path means from where this website should access its resources, where the resources are present for this website. So what we will do is we will click on that physical path and create a new path. Here you see, go to some C drive or D drive and create a new folder and give the folder name. Some shopping is the folder name. You can give the same name or different name. Initially, I given the name as shopping. That means now click OK. Now you can see this is shopping. This is the physical path. That means this is the physical path. C:/shopping is the physical path. This is the location where we keep all the resources for website. That means whatever resources like images, like files, everything, whatever we want, we keep the resources. Now, this is the physical path. So every website contains two paths. One is virtual path, another one is physical path. Every website comprises of two paths, virtual and physical path. Physical path is the location where we keep all the resources. Now, can I give the physical path to my clients? What do you say? Can I give the physical path to clients? Can I give my physical path to the clients? So to access the resources? No, I cannot give the physical path because they can disturb my files. They can delete, they can modify, they can add. So then how our clients can access our resources? Then how our clients can access our resources? Our clients can access the resources by using what? Our clients can access the resources by using virtual path. So the resources are kept in, very good, right? The resources are kept in the physical path and they are accessed from the virtual path. Yes, they are accessed from the virtual path. That means every website comprises of the physical and virtual path. Clients are given with this virtual path. They can access by using the virtual path. Now your website is ready. Now click OK. Your website is ready. Shopping is ready. Now I will access that website from the browser. http://localhost/shopping. Now tell me, is this website having any resources? Is this website having any resources? Currently, it is not having any resources. It is empty. It is empty. That is the reason when I hit enter, now it says not found. That means there are no contents. Of course, we know that there are no contents. It's empty, right? Now we will maintain some resources for this website. How to maintain the resources from the website? So, for example, go to its physical location. Where is the physical location? Open your PC. In the PC, go to C drive. In the C drive, go to shopping folder. It is empty. In the shopping folder, I will maintain the resources. For example, I will create a new folder. In this folder, I will give some images folder. Okay. I will add another folder, some folder like docs. Okay. In images folder, I will copy some images from my computer. So let's go to the computer. From C drive, D drive, I have some pictures like some shoe. I will copy that and I will paste that here. This is shoe and it is a JPG file. It is present in shopping images. Okay, similarly, I have docs folder. In the docs folder, what I will do, in my computer, suppose I am having like some PDF document, some CSS demo PDF document is there. I will copy that and I will paste it. I will paste a CSS demo PDF document. It is present in docs folder. Now our website is having some resources. We have some images and some documents. Now observe carefully now. In the URL, I am requesting that resources. That means slash, in that we have images, in that we have shoe.jpg, and they can access that resource directly. Now it is working. Now website is a collection of web pages. Huh? That means, do we have any web page in our computer, in our website? Do you have any web page in your website? We have a website. We don't have any web pages. We can directly access the resources. We can directly access the resources. Suppose you can see here in the URL, I can access the resource. So suppose you can see directly docs. In that docs, I can access a resource. I can access a resource that is CSS demo.pdf. It can access the document and display. That means website is not collection of web pages. Website is a collection of resources. Website is a collection of resources. You can access these resources directly. Access the resources directly. I will show you a real practical example also. The real practical example, for example, see, we have a website, tutorialspoint.com. We have a website, tutorialspoint.com. So this website, so this is just some website. In this website, they have a HTML tutorial, PDF document. Now, without opening this website homepage, this is the website homepage. Without opening the website homepage, I can access that tutorial. Observe carefully. Tutorialpoints.com/ I know the path HTML/ HTML tutorial PDF and hit enter. That PDF will open. That means without opening the home page of their website, can I access their resources directly? What do you say? Can I access the resources directly? You can. But in order to access the resources directly, you need to know the correct path. Am I right? You need to know the correct path. And very important is, how do I know in which location, what files they have kept? I don't know what are their folders, what are their file names. I am not sure about them. That means as a user, I am not sure about what are the folders they are having, what are the files they are having. Then what we have to do, users don't know about these paths correctly. Then what we have to do, we have to create a proper UI for them. Understood? We have to create a proper UI for them. UI for users so that they can interact with the resources. We can create a UI for them so that they can interact with the resources. And this UI is called web page. Understood? So web page provides a UI from where user can interact with the resources. Web page provides a UI from where user can interact with the resources. So without a web page, can we access the resources directly? Without a web page, can we access the resources directly? What do you say? Can we access the resources directly? Yes, we can access the resources directly if we know the path. Am I right? We can access the resources directly if we know the path. If we are not sure about the path, then we need a user interface from where you can select and we can access the resources. That is what actually web page. So what is a web page? What is static? What is dynamic? What is web application? These all things you need to understand. But before that, this kind of environment you need to set up. You need to understand what is a website, what is a web server. I hope everyone is clear what is a website and what is a web server, right? So now we are going to understand some more important points, like what is a web page, what is a web application, what is difference between static and dynamic pages, how to create them, and how to build an application. That we will see in our next session. Tomorrow we will discuss about that. Okay, tomorrow we are going to learn what is web application, what is website, what is a page, how to build the pages, and how to work with them in our environment, in this project, how to deal with them. This we are going to learn. Okay, tomorrow we will continue with that, right? Yes, all these notes related to whatever the topics we are discussing, demo videos are sent to you. Classroom recording videos are sent to you. So once registrations are completed, I will share you an online link where you will get all daily notes about every topic that we are discussing. Okay, so we will get, once this is for the registered people, we will share a link where you will get the daily step-by-step notes. Okay, right. Tomorrow we will continue with this.